All right, today I'm going to be showing you how to set the timing for a 2016 Nissan NV200. I believe this is like the 2.0. All right, so obviously if you got to this point, what you need to do is you need to get your cylinder to compression stroke, top dead center. So basically cylinder number 1, you put your finger right in here, and then you would keep rotating the crank until you start feeling pressure. So you're going to feel air push out your finger, and then you're going to see your piston. If I can get that to focus. See how right there you can see the piston? No, I have the spark plug in that one. So you can see the piston. That's going to be at its highest point. So when you get at its highest point, you should make some marks. No, there's no marks over here. All right. Anyways. Well, we can make our own marks once we get it up to that height. So we're gonna be, I gotta take off I gotta place the gasket on one of the camshaft that's holding down the camshaft. But I gotta take off the tensioner, and I gotta take off the camshaft sprocket, or the camshaft sprocket holder. So what we need to do is that we're gonna make our little marks. So we're gonna clean up this area with the rag. Make sure you have a whiteout pen. I would recommend the whiteout pen because it's the easiest to use. So we'll mark this area probably from right here with this little guide or something. Depending where we ever make our mark, that's going to be our mark for our bottom. So I'll go ahead and show that right now. I'm going to get a new tensioner because I don't have the tensioner holder. I could make it, but I ordered a new one, might as well since I'm already here. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna make our marks up on top, and then we'll go ahead and do that. But if you haven't already, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions on this, and hit that subscribe button for any upcoming videos in the future. And thanks for watching. Alright, so for this piece, alright, so for the cams up on top, you see how I already made my mark on one of them? I was trying to see if I could sneak out this guy right here, but you can't because you got to take off the cams. The only way to get this out, well, you got to take off the exhaust cam because this sits right under it a little bit. So it's kind of frustrating. It is what it is. Your timing mark's kind of behind the valve cover right there, as you can see. See a little indentation right here, and then it corresponds with the little indentation on the back of the valve cover itself. And I think there's one more right here. So yeah, so this one's going to correspond with that one, and so forth. I'm gonna go ahead and just make my marks. I already got one mark made right there, and I'm just gonna make another one with that little dot, and then we'll make another one on the bottom. So again, I'm using Bix whiteout, so we'll do that. I'm gonna make another mark up here just for this side, just so I know it's the top piece. Alright, so we're all said and done on that. Then we're gonna go ahead and go to the bottom. Alright, so for the bottom, we're just gonna clean up our area just a tad bit right here, so it makes it easier. Then we'll go ahead and make one mark, however you want. Let's see. That's how I made it. I don't think you can see that. So right there, that's how I made that mark. Then we're gonna go ahead and take off the timing chain tensioner. Those are gonna be 2 8mm. And then once we're doing this, we're gonna be just removing the timing tensioner. And then that will release the slack on the chain. So when we release this or unbolt it, we're gonna this is gonna kind of shoot out. Just so you're aware of that. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and pull this guy back. There should be no gaskets or anything. It should just come right out. Or there should be a gasket. Or no, this one doesn't have a gasket. The aftermarket ones do come with the gasket, but this one doesn't, which is fine. So I kind of had a little small hiccup. Had my finger right here. And then I pressed the spring to try to collapse it. But my finger slipped right off, and then the whole thing opened up and spring flew right out. Spring flew in the oil container. I'm not really worried about this. Just want to give you a heads up, if you are going to reuse this, make sure that you this is what's keeping the push rod in place. It's keeping it from going all the way out or all the way in. Just so you're aware. Yeah, because I can pull it out as much as I want. So just like that, as you can see. But when I squeeze this, like I said, my finger slid right off and it won't go back. Another thing, you can get this part at the dealership for about 113 bucks, 115 around there, I think. Okay, so we do gotta take off at least, yeah, you gotta take off your guides. They're gonna be 8 millimeters. So you got one right here for that one. If I can get that to focus. So there's one bolt right here. I believe that's a 8 or a 10 millimeter. Or no, those are 10s. So you got 210 or 110 right here. For this is the tensioner guide. And then the actual guide itself, you're gonna have two. So you're gonna have one right here and then one right down below. So that one, this bolt right here. So we're gonna go ahead and take off. I'm gonna take off just these two. Alright, so now that we've taken off both bolts, we should just be able to pull this guy right back. Just wiggle it right out of place. Inspect it, make sure there's no cracks. This one's still good. My customer's not going to go ahead and replace it, so we'll just leave that to the side. Lift up the motor. Just so it's easier to take off. So now the chain should come out. We're gonna go ahead and take it from up here, if I can. And there we have it. All right, so next we're gonna use a 21 millimeter right here. We're gonna lock down the cam, and then same thing right over there. There's like a little, has like a little lock, just so we can hold down the camshaft while we are taking off this camshaft sprocket, because the camshaft sprocket sits over this little the cam holder. So while I'm doing that, we're just gonna hold this guy in place, the 20 millimeter. So it's gonna be a 20 millimeter holding that, and then you have two 13s, so one right here and then one right there. This is intake, that's exhaust. So now we're gonna go ahead and put on our camshaft sprockets. I'm gonna start off with the exhaust one, just because there's not gonna be nothing in the way. So we'll go ahead and put that in. Now right here, you see these little nipples right here? Make sure that they go in the groove of the cam itself and that you don't damage it. The exhaust gear is gonna be in the back. So make sure that the cam itself fully seats in. And then we'll go ahead and thread in everything. All right, so for our exhaust cam, we're gonna torque down to 65 foot-pounds. All right, so we're gonna torque it down. I'm gonna hold the camshaft at the same time, and then we're gonna just torque it right down. All right, so cool, we got that torque down. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put in our intake cam. Now, make sure you clean up your area, just in case if there's any debris. If you have this sitting up, one thing I forgot to mention in the video, make sure that this one is like completely covered up, because you don't want no debris getting in here. If debris gets in here, you have it's almost like a starter. You have very little movement, and it's like the oil pump itself, and then that's how it advances and retards the timing depending on how much oil pressure goes right here. You don't want to damage that because those little debris can clog it up, just so you're aware. So, and then right here, make sure that you don't get it confused. I mean, I highly doubt it. You can mess this up, but right here, the biggest hole is going to be where the little nipple is going to go into. All right, the first time we're gonna torque it down to 26 foot-pounds. And then the second one, we're gonna torque it down to 69 degrees. And I'll kind of show that right now, what I mean. All right, so we're at 26 degrees. I can show you that. All right, so now we're gonna hold in this cam. Just like that. Let me go ahead and set up my thing for degrees. All right, so we got our settings to 69 degrees. If you don't have a torque wrench that can do that, I'll show you right now in a few what you can use to do that, and we can set up the little angle. You're gonna use some force while locking this guy in place. So put all your might in it. So I think you need to probably be around maybe 52 foot-pounds. That's what it's saying. But don't go by mine. You need to go by your degrees. You can buy this tool right here. I think this is the best method of using is this style. So basically, however, your socket's gonna go right here. It's a 1/2 inch, and then let's say you put that right here. Let's see. You could probably put this guy in the hole. Let me set it up. If you can't set it up in the hole, you could probably put something right there. Just trying to figure out right now what step I can use. So what you probably can do is probably put maybe your hand. No, you don't want to use your hand. Hold on, let me see. We can use some pliers right here. We can lock this in place. Now this doesn't need to be all like crazy torqued down and stuff. We just need to make sure that this ain't moving. So we'll dial it in, we'll push it down. So just like that, so we know where this can't move. This actually needs to be on there pretty tight. And so when you're turning, this right here is gonna spin. If you can have a second hand holding that, then that would be perfect. So like right there, oh dang, I already have it zeroed out. So the clear glass, you're gonna have it, this is what you can zero it out. So that's what you're gonna zero it out. Doesn't matter where you start, it's because you're gonna zero it out. So like let's say if you moved it and it was right there at the 30 degrees. So you'll just back it up. We see how I backed up everything. So we just wanna back it up right there, just like that. And then that'll zero it out. And you just need to go to 69.5 degrees. So, I mean, like mine said, like my machine said 52 foot-pounds. I mean, but don't go by mine. Just do yours and make sure you get your setup all temp. You can get this for about like $10 at AutoZone and stuff, or you can buy a better one that's more expensive. But I mean, this one does the job. Again, I have the tool, so might as well just use it. All right, so now we're ready to put on the chain. So now we're gonna go ahead and put back on our timing chain. Now let's say if you were gonna replace your timing chain. Now your timing chain has a couple marks on it. And you have one blue mark right there. These two, the ones that are near each other, are gonna be for your cam sprockets. Now if you didn't wanna go that way, what you can do is, there should be like a bottom one around here. There's like one more color. Gotta find it. It's like a really dark one. Okay, there's the other one right there. So it's, as you can see, that little shaded one. If I can get it to focus. So this is the darkest one. That's gonna be for your bottom crank, and these top ones are gonna be for the top. All right. So let's just say, if you're gonna do, I would recommend to do my method, but if you wanted to do the OEM method, what you can do is you can find the other one, make your marks with it, and then count your teeth. So each tooth, so let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, let's say like 26. And it takes 26 teeth to get right here. So you're gonna do the same thing on the other one, make your marks, and then count how many teeth, and then just verify everything. That's one way you can do it, and then that's how you know all your timing will be dead on. All right, so I'm reusing the chain. Like I said, it doesn't have that many miles, and we got to keep it on a budget. So we're gonna go ahead and connect this. So I know our timing is gonna be off. So as you can see, our timing is slightly a little off. We're gonna back up our cams. Just a tad bit, not too much. I think we need to bring this one back too. Let's say if your teeth keep jumping just like how mine did, what you can do is you can get another cam or something, or lock this cam in place. Again, let me see if I can move this back. Oh, this one was fine. It was the one on the back. All right, cool. So we're dead on right there. The bottom, we're going to be off a little bit, but we're going to adjust everything as needed. So we're going to grab this guy, and then we'll just set it over. There's 2 teeth, so make sure you have it on the one that's... There's a front lip, and then there's the back lip. That's the one that we want it on. We want it on that back lip. So as you can see, our tooth is off. I can get that to focus. So as you can see, we're off a little bit because over here we marked it between that. So like I said, remember we're going to be off just a tad bit. So what we can do is we could probably spin this crank by hand if I can. Probably not. So all we need to do is probably back up the teeth up on top. So we're just going to back this one off just a tad bit. And I just need to hold it. All right. There. I still need to back it off just a tad bit more because this is not corresponding for that. This is the lines that I remember that I made. And then I just put like a little tool, a little spacer that I can just hold something right there that I can just lock in that just for that time being. And then we can go right back here. And then we're still going to be a tad bit off until I spin that other crank. So I'm going to go ahead and spin the other crank up on top. And then we'll go ahead and bring it right over. And there we have it. So then we're ready to put it on our chain. So I'm just going to walk over everything. So we have right there, we're dead on our marks. And then right here, we're dead on our marks. So everything is lined up. If I can get that to show. Just like that. So we're dead on our mark. So as you can see. So now we know everything is correct. We know our timing is on. Now we're going to put on our guides. So now we're going to go ahead and put in our tensioner guide. Now if this guy doesn't go in, we still have a lot of slack on this side. So what we can do is we can squeeze the chain coming from both sides. Let's see if I can do this. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the pliers. And then what I want to do is I want to spin the exhaust cam. So I'm going to spin the exhaust cam, and while still putting pressure on that chain. I think my bottom's, I think I lost a little bit of slack on the bottom. Alright, so we're going to put on a crank bolt. I just want to make this more faster and easier. All said and done. So we'll go ahead and spin it. Think how far did we go off? Alright, so let's see. We're slightly, no, we're dead on. So we're dead on the bottom. We just moved it just a tad bit, as you can see right there. We're gonna go back up on top. As you can see, my top piece moved. That's no biggie. Just need to get rid of all our little slack. So right now I'm pushing the intake cam backwards, and then I'm gonna go ahead and rotate the exhaust cam a little bit towards us. Now we should have all our slack from this side right here. So now we don't have no slack. So all our slack's right here. So we're gonna double check our work. Our timing marks are dead on. Now we're ready to put in the timing chain guide. Make sure this is not binding up or anything. Make sure it free floats. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and put in our camshaft sprocket, or the tensioner I'm in. So let's just set that right in there. Alright, so you're going to go ahead and verify all your work. Make sure all your timing marks are dead on and everything's perfectly fine. And then once you have confirmed that, see how right there's a little slack? Not supposed to be any slack. But we're going to go ahead and rotate the crank, and then we'll get rid of all that slack. So we'll go ahead and pull the locking pin, the grenade pin, and then we're going to go ahead and rotate the crank. Now as we rotate that crank, you should hear that noise, and you should watch this move. If this does not move, then you have an issue with the tensioner. So all right. And I kind of want to back it up just a tad bit more. So I'm going to squeeze the pin, and I'm just going to bring it a little bit closer. I think I can. I don't know, for some odd reason there's still a lot of slack in that chain, and we need to get rid of that slack. So we'll go ahead and pull a little bit more. I'm just squeezing out that pin. That's how it should be. You shouldn't see it move at all. So I'm gonna grab a pick and then just see if I can push this back as much as possible. All right, I think we are good on that. All right, so right now, as you can see, it can't go back anymore. So make sure you rotate it back and forth, and make sure that you put this little pin. Let me get that focus right there. That little pin back, because if you start it and then this sucker's moving, you're gonna skip a tooth. So verify all your work. Go ahead and take this off, and I'll show you right now. So you can see our timing marks dead on. Right there, we are dead on our mark. And earlier I went to go rotate the crank right by here. I just pulled that back. Make sure you check all your tension. Timing marks dead on. We are solid. All right, so now that's pretty much it. That's all I'm gonna show. The rest of the video, I mean, it's all on you. You can't put on the timing cover. The only thing that would be on the weight would be this. Just this AC line. If you have the AC machine, you can't get it extracted. It would be perfect. But if not, you can probably unbolt this 10mm. And I think there's like one more right around here somewhere. Yeah, so you can take off that 10mm right there that holds in that brake line, the AC line, and then we could probably maybe you know, bend it back. Probably bend it towards this way, or bend it towards us, depending on which slack you want. You're gonna lift up the motor as much as possible. I'm not lifting it up from the pan. You can lift it up from the pan, but don't hold me accountable for it. But I'm actually lifting it right there, as you can see.